I love what I do because I can help people. I can sleep at night knowing that I'm doing what's right. And my clients know that when they need me, I'm there. I will be there for them. Whether it's, they need advice, maybe they're buying a house, or maybe they got some money they came across, or they got some other issues going on with debt or something, I'm there for them.
Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks. Excited that you're here with me today, and you're one of my favorite people in the world, by the way. We've been good friends for, many, many, many years. And I just always been inspired by you, always love the way that you train and teach and mentor and coach. And I just, I think you're doing an amazing job. So tell me a little bit about your journey. I know you're a Marine and you then transitioned over into financial services, got some investment licenses and insurance license, things like that. And so what was the journey like for you? Tell me a little bit about your story, where you grew up, what's it been like?
Wow, that's kind of a lot to say in a few words. I was born in Texas, came to California with my grandmother when I was 3 years old. So I was pretty much raised in the South Bay. Typical, there was nothing special. What happened when I was 18, I left home, I enlisted in Marines. And then I got into the reserves, got married young. Don't recommend that, but you know what? I don't not recommend it either. If it's the right person, it's the right person at that time. After 10 years, though, I ended up being a single father. Loved being a single father, like I said before, much easier than being a married father at that point in my life. But then that's where kind of the struggle comes in. You have to provide for other people. So at that point, I was always working two jobs. Not that I minded, I had the energy, but then I come home one day, my 4-year-old son is now 15 years old, and I realized that my children were growing up while I was at work. And the funny thing is, I was doing what I was taught to do all my life. You get a good education, you get a good job, you make money, you take care of your family. But the way our system is set up, you have to sacrifice time with your family to have that so-called good life. And I was looking for a change. Faith has always been a big deal for me. I was praying one day, said, Lord, thank you for blessing me. My kids are healthy, my family's healthy, got a good job, got a good income, but please show me how I can make the money I need to take care of my family, but at the same time, work time with them. That was always my big deal. Because life is just so short, so fleeting. We look at our children now. Yesterday they were babies, now they're adults. I mean, it just happens in the blink of an eye. And then I threw in, it's been 11 years. I'm ready for a wife. 2 months later, I met my wife. I met Christine. We got married after 3 months.
And where did you meet her? Where'd you guys meet?
We actually, believe it or not, we met online. Okay. And we didn't even technically meet online. I figured that if I'm going to seriously about looking for someone, I have to kind of take the first step. Never enjoyed dating. To me, that wasn't fun at all. But I saw this personal. This was when Yahoo used to have personals. Okay, there was no picture. All it said was, she lived in San Francisco and a little bit about family, and that was it. And at that point, I said, "Oh, this is the one." What I liked was in San Francisco. I was not. So maybe slowly we can develop a relationship. Turns out she lived 20 minutes away from where I live. She said San Francisco to keep the weirdos at bay, but apparently that didn't work. We started dating, and during the dating process, she actually introduced me into Primerica. I had heard of Primerica before, wasn't really interested, something about life insurance, but I'm dating this girl, and when you're first dating, you just want to spend time. You don't care what you do. It's a walk in the park. It's throw rocks in the ocean. And I asked her out. She said, I'm going to a training meeting. And I said, well, can I go with you? I'll be quiet. I just want to be with her, right? So I go to this meeting, which you were holding, okay? I sat, they put me in the front, and I'm listening to you. And as you were talking about your journey through Primerica, and when I found out how much money, let me take it a step back. Everything that was said at the meeting made sense financially, life insurance, investing, taking care of your family, having a better quality of life. And it was mentioned that this person I was listening to was 32 years old at that time and was making over $50,000 a month. I thought there had to be drugs involved because it just didn't make sense to me. It didn't compute. But you came up to me and just said, Alfred, if I can show you how to do this, train you, would you just give it a shot? Don't quit your job. Don't change your life. Would you give it a shot? I figured I had nothing to lose. And that's how I got involved.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Alfred, and we're going to jump into that as well and your career story, but tell me a little bit about, like, how did the military, because you're a military guy, how did that influence you though, like for business? How did it influence you as far as mentally and discipline and habits? And, because one of the things I notice about you is you are very disciplined. You're a, very consistent guy, right? You've always made money in the business. I don't think you struggled a whole lot. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that later, but I've always seen you as somebody that always made money. You always did pretty well in the business and was able to feed your family and do well. So tell me how the military, and what was your experience like in the military?
Discipline is very important. Growing up, I thought I had discipline. Then when you go off to boot camp, you find out you don't have discipline. It's a whole lifestyle change. But what it made me was made me tough. I mean, there is nothing. I realized that if there's anything that I want to do, I can do it. And not only will I be able to do it, but I'll be able to do it well. Now, I may not be the best, but I don't need to be the best, especially in this industry. You just have to take care of your clients and be good. If you're competent, you're going to make money anyways. But that's another story. Failure is not an option. I have a goal. I have to take care of my family. And so you just work. I look at people like you, see what you've done, and it's literally one of these things in the back of your mind. If it can be done once, it can be done again. If you can do it, I can do it, and we just move forward with it. Of course, different circumstances, different things. My goal has really been to spend as much time with my family as I can while I still can, while my kids are still young, while I still have a more influential over them, if that makes sense. And so I've been using the business to really achieve that particular goal. Along the way, of course, I learned how to understand money. I learned how to apply it in my life and our family's life. I mean, let's put it this way. The knowledge is so important that once a week, I have a Zoom meeting with my two boys who are 14 and 16 years old. They are literally making fun of me because they recite what I say as I'm saying it because they think it's funny because they're 14 and 16. But
Right.
they're learning the concepts. My 16-year-old, he wants to meet 3-4 times a week. We talk about money and investing and saving for the future and what your life can be like if you don't do it. They know what it can be like if you do and you have money because now you have control. You control your money, you control your life. Otherwise, if your money controls you, then your life is controlled. You have no options. And they understand that. So my role, my goal in my life is, yes, to make sure that my family, my kids have the ability to understand money so they can have a much better life. And aside from that, whenever it happens, I want to be able to take my children to the Lord. I mean, that's what's important to me. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And, obviously you've done a great job raising an amazing family. And I mean, imagine your kids, how lucky are they? I mean, they have knowledge at 14 and 16 years old that, most people never even get that knowledge at 60 years old. So you're positioning them to strategize their life so that they can get financially free even sooner, right? I mean, you've been financially free for a decent amount of time, but imagine how quickly your kids are going to be able to get financially free. They'll be done by the time they're 25, 30 years old. Then they can get to spend their life, traveling the world and enjoying life and helping other people and volunteering and creating other successful people as well. So, a little bit about partnership, because you have one of the best partners in all of the business, in my opinion. Christine is, she's an appointment setter. She is she follows up. She's on it. She's a great mother. She's a great, so like how has partnership worked in your household? And what are some of the roles? Like if you guys were to define your roles and her roles, how did that work out?
In the very beginning, that was kind of a challenge because we didn't know what we were good at. Christine is a very methodical, and I'm not saying this in general, but unlike a lot of women, she is very methodical in the way she thinks. Um, and she likes to keep track of lots of different things, which makes her really awesome as an office manager. That she's my office manager. She sets the appointments, she follows up. I in the very beginning, I took the opportunity to get all the licenses that I can get as fast as I could get them. Only because I figured that if I'm going to be doing this business, I may as well be prepared to actually do the business. One of your meetings at one point, I remember you saying this in the very beginning, don't leave money on the table. Get all your licenses because you never know where you're going to be able to help someone. And it's just like, not the necessarily the best analogy, but it's like, not being able to, I'm going to use again, I was going to use the condom issue, but you have to be prepared with a firearm to protect your family, because if something happens and you don't have it, well, you can't protect them because you don't have it. Well, same thing with these licenses. We're here to protect people financially, but you can't protect them financially if you're not prepared. Okay, preparedness is everything, and you have to have your license and you have to know what you're talking about, because not everyone in this example, when I'm in financial services, not everyone needs life insurance, or maybe they can't get life insurance. But either way, once their life insurance is done and it's taken care of, they shouldn't be touching that. They're still going to be working for the rest of their lives to earn money. So they got to make their money work for them so that later on, they don't have to work for their money. By the time people get to 65, 67, whatever they think their ideal retirement age is, and by the way, they think their ideal retirement age is whatever people tell them, okay? They should be in a position where they just don't have to work. And if they decide they want to work, it's because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. I think being 60 years, 65, 70, and having to work because you don't have enough money to live comfortably, that's one of the saddest experiences anyone could probably go through. It takes the joy out of life at that point where you've worked all your life and you should have accomplished something had you had the knowledge, which you probably could have, to be able to retire comfortably, to live comfortably with it, to have a lot less stress in your life.
When you're one of the smartest guys that I know for sure, and you encounter a lot of policies out there, IULs and whole life and universal life, and I hear a lot of people talking about like this indexed universal life. And when you analyze those policies, what are some of the pitfalls that you see over and over and over again, and why term life insurance with a Roth IRA beats them hands down every single time?
In the end, when it comes to talking to people life insurance, if they have any type of cash value, I try to simplify the process as much as I can. And I ask them, who owns the cash value? I mean, bluntly, who owns the cash value? And I focus on the point that if they have to take money out, they have to borrow it. And if they have to borrow it, they have to pay interest. Is that any different than borrowing money from the bank? Of course not. That means the bank owns it. And then if you pass away, in the vast majority of cases, they're gonna take that money you borrowed and they're gonna deduct it from the life insurance. Now you're not around because you passed away. Your family is happy. Instead of maybe getting 250,000, they're getting 240,000. They don't know the difference. They just know they're getting money, not realizing that it wasn't your money the whole time. And then over time, because of the way these policies work, that policy is practically 99% of the time guaranteed to actually end long before, just as you get into retirement, literally. And all I do is I show people with their own eyes what their policy is actually saying. I'll let them make their own decision. I'm not in the business of pushing people to get something they don't want. But if they understand something, and this is the business we're in, showing people, educating people, because they understand something, if it makes sense to them and they believe they benefit, you know what? If they can, they're probably going to take advantage of it. It's
Right.
just a brainer, and so many people, they're getting their financial advice on Instagram. They're getting it on TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is. And all they're hearing are people selling what they want to sell. A, they think it makes them look better. B, it makes them more money, but it makes more money at the expense of the individual you're talking to who's looking at that. Our goal, let's just educate them, let them know what's going on, let them make their own decision, because the truth of the matter is we can't force anyone to do anything they don't want to do anyways. And if they somehow believe that that particular policy is the end all for them, well, God bless them. At least they have something. And then I segue off into the investment stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when I think for the most part, most people are pretty smart. I mean, the only reason why people are making bad financial choices is because they're getting taught how to make bad financial choices.
Right.
Or they're just not educated. And so if you educate people, I think people are pretty smart. I mean, if you tell them 1+1 = 2, and you show it to them on paper, like this is 1, this is +1, and then this equals 2, then they go, oh, I get it now. I understand. Or you read them their policy. I love this. I mean, nobody does this. I mean, how many times you've been to a client's home and you open up their policy and it's like, right, because they've never opened up their policy ever. So they have no idea what the fine print looks like inside their policy. So I always felt like my job was to go through their policy, show them exactly how the policy works, not what the agent said, how that policy works, but with their own eyes, read the fine print inside of the policy to show them that this is what their policy is going to do. This is how their policy works. And I promise you, Alfred, I mean, I've been up against hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand, but different cash value policies, IULs, variable life, universal life, whole life, you name it. And 100% of the time, I mean, I'm talking 100% of the time, that client has switched from the cash value over to term and an investment 100% of the time. There's never been a time where a client will say that the cash value actually is better than the term insurance. And the reason why is because when you read through the cash value policies terms, when they say that, you have to pay interest to borrow your own money, and, they keep your money if you die in some cases, you're only getting, I mean, a lot of these policies too, they're getting capped. Their rates of returns are capped based on the language inside the policies, the fees, the transparent. There is no transparency. The fees are crazy. So at the end of the day, when you take term insurance and you stick it together with a Roth IRA or something like that, or your 401k or whatever, you beat those policies hands down every single time because it's just math. Does that make sense?
You're absolutely correct. The only time they wouldn't change is if they are not healthy enough to change anymore. And at least they have something, right? Not the best by far, but at least they have something.
And so when you look at, this last however many years you've been in the business now, you've helped a lot of clients. I mean, you have hundreds and hundreds of clients, if not thousands of clients, and you have made a difference. I mean, how does that feel? Like, from somebody that may be watching and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to go into the investment business, or I don't know if I want to go in the insurance business. I mean, how does it feel when you pay a death claim? How does it feel when you see somebody send their kids to a college, or maybe help them buy a home, or have money for their retirement or whatever? What does that feel like to you?
It's amazing business because we literally protect people. You protect their finances, you protect their money, you give them the opportunity to have a better quality of life than they probably would have had if they didn't listen to your advice. And it feels good. I mean, one of the things that's really, really good about this business is, yes, you can make an incredible amount of compensation. Compensation is beyond great, okay? As long as you're willing to work. But you can go to sleep every night knowing that you didn't lie to someone, you didn't rip someone off, you're not screwing some family's finances or the
Right.
children. We are doing what's right. And what's right is educating them so they know what's going on with their own money. It doesn't have to be all technical. I mean, just regular language. You'll notice, Daniel, I never use any industry jargon. I avoid that because my clients are just regular people. So I need to be able to speak simply and directly and just get the idea across.
Right.
Uh, I like what I do. I love what I do because I can help people. I can sleep at night knowing that I'm doing what's right. And my clients know that when they need me, I'm there. I will be there for them. Whether it's, they need advice, maybe they're buying a house, or maybe they got some money they came across, or they got some other issues going on with debt or something, I'm there for them. If they, I tell them, call me, I don't do banker's hours with my clients. Listen, call me anytime you want. If you have something that's pressing, is really bothering you, something's going on, I don't care if it's late at night, call me. If I'm awake, I'll answer the phone. If I'm not, leave a message. I will get back with you. And we do that with everybody. And I think it makes a difference. This is this incredible business just based on relationships, be their friend, do what's right, always be honest, never lie. Even if it's bad news, or maybe not the best news, you tell them the truth up front because this is why they trust you.
Right. For sure. For sure. And when it comes down to like employee mentality, when you first started, what was the tough thing for you? Because when you join a business like ours, when you go into business with us, you're basically becoming an entrepreneur, and you own your own business. You own your own schedule. You get to be disciplined or not disciplined. You get to work or not work. You get to make a lot of money or not make a lot of money. I mean, it's 100% up to you. So what was some of the tough things that you went through in the beginning, and maybe some tips on what you would recommend to that person that's just getting started right now?
In the beginning, our challenge was how to manage our time. Big deal. How to manage our time. We have, and until I got into the idea that I got to treat this business as a job, like a job, I'm going to work a certain amount of hours. I'm going to be dressed up. I'm going to, I'm going to be there to do my job. Well, when you're self-employed, it's even more important because you have to work a certain number of hours to actually work the job. I mean, Zoom meetings of themselves, unless I'm talking to a client, unless I'm setting an appointment or am an appointment or preparing for an appointment, which is actually a very small part of the business, actually, you're not really working. So just learning how to set our time aside and actually focus on the business. Like you mentioned earlier, once we delineated our roles, I'm gonna get the licenses. I'm gonna be the pretty face that talks to people, which is funny because Christine's much prettier, right? Okay. She's a pretty one. And she's going to take care of all my paperwork for me. She's going to help me set the appointment. She's going to make sure that I'm on track. We work together every day. Even to this day, we're probably talking to 3 to 5 people every single day. Okay. If I'm not talking to them, I'm working on portfolios. I'm working on strategies. Who else can we meet? What meetings do we go to so we can build our business up? This business requires us to talk to people. Yes, referrals are awesome, but I'm not the passive kind of person waiting for things to come to me. If it's out there, we have to go out and find it and we have to get it.
And so when you think about skepticism and people not believing that you can make a lot of money here, because obviously you've made millions of dollars here, what sort of advice would you, or maybe how would you overcome that? If somebody was skeptical or somebody didn't believe that this company was real, what sort of things would you tell them to maybe overcome their fears?
Once again, honestly, sincerely, explain to them find out why they're skeptical. They're skeptical because they have a lack of knowledge, a lack of education. They've heard something from someone's cousin's best friend's girlfriend, blah, 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 and they really don't know the truth. But people being people, we never want to acknowledge that we don't know the truth. We would rather bluster our way through through anything so that you think we know what we're actually talking about when we don't. I fall into, especially when I was younger, I think I was probably the same way. But once we educate people, listen, if they want, I'll show them what I'll pull up a report. They can see what I made last month or last year. It doesn't really matter because it's there. But more importantly, they can see what other people have made. I don't necessarily sell myself. I sell myself as my ability to teach them how to make whatever I've made. Hey, I can teach you how to make $200,000 a year because that's from experience. Now, I may not be able to teach you how to make $1 million a year, but I can introduce you to someone who can. Daniel, you're in a position you can teach someone how to make $10 million a year plus because you've already done it. Okay, this isn't like some sort of university where you're going to be in a class and having a professor telling you theoretically how to make $1 million, even though they've never done it themselves or they wouldn't probably be a professor still, right? This is reality. People who are actually succeeding, teaching you based on their own experiences. And here's the awesome caveat. They're not afraid if you make more money than them because it doesn't hurt them. In fact, in all likelihood, it's going to benefit them anyways. So it's in our best interest to find someone who's better than us and teach them how to make way more money if that's their goal. And how? By helping other people, coming up with strategies and plans to amplify your ability to help more people, to multiply, to leverage your efforts by training other people to do the exact same thing. And if you do it right, and other people have, this business can grow so fast, it'll boggle your mind. I see people coming in 24 years old, making $500,000 a year. Where else in the world does that happen legally, right? It doesn't, almost. And Primerica gives you that ability, and it's all based on your desire, and everyone's desire is different, to live your life the way you are comfortable, the way you really want to live. If I want to make more money, we can make more money. If I want to make less money, we can make less money. That's not an issue anymore, because the business and people, leaders like you, Daniel, especially you, because you've been really influential with us, it taught us a long time ago that once you learn how to make money, that knowledge will be with you forever because you've already done it. And for that, I want to thank you, Daniel, because I mean, like I said earlier, you were very instrumental in us getting the right mental focus mindset to actually move forward with the business.
And so is that something that you spent a lot of time doing? I mean, what did you do to get good at the business other than maybe connecting with me? What are some of the other things that you did to really master your craft, to get great at what you do? Because that's got to be a big piece of why you're so good at the business, because you spent a lot of time studying this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's of course countless books, a lot of studying people, but I think the biggest thing was actually getting out in the field and doing the work. Before I got in the company before we got involved with you, and prior to getting involved with you, the teaching was, listen to what everyone else is doing and just keep the best of whatever they're doing and work out your own thing, right? That didn't work out for me very well because I was in a base shop that wasn't really necessarily English speaking, and most of our clients were Filipino, and they're speaking a language that I did not understand what was going on during our training even. So after 6 appointments with my trainer, I told Christine, "Look, let's just do this on our own." We wrote our own little scripts and we'll figure this out. And we went on every appointment we could possibly, even if we knew they were not qualified. I didn't care. I wanted to see how they reacted and responded to the words I was saying and how I was saying whatever I was saying. And bit by bit, we started to develop our own, I don't want to call it a script, but technically it is. But we learned what to say and how to say it to people, and we started getting results. And then we got introduced with you, and then, oh my God, you had a system. Systems work. It doesn't matter if you have the worst system. I don't think there's such thing as the best system, but if you have a consistent system, and I like consistency, by the way, okay, it's going to work. Because remember, you're talking to people. All they know is whatever you're telling them anyways, and whatever you're teaching them. And you do the system the right way, and you just do it over and over and over again, it's going to work. It cannot not work, especially when we do what we do the way we do it. Our goal is to educate. If it makes sense to them, they understand it, and they feel they benefit, they're going to take advantage of it. This is a no-brainer.
And so critics out there, though, are going to say, well, that thing is like a pyramid, or it's a scam, or, they're just trying to get you to to give them money, or they're trying to make money off of you, or whatever. How do you silence some of those people that say that type of stuff?
People can say whatever they want. Most of the times it's based out of ignorance, okay? And God bless them, they just don't know, or they've had experiences that have jaded them, so they refuse to believe that it could possibly be real. All you can do is be honest and you just tell them the truth. If they're interested, great. But you know what? If someone's not interested, I really don't care. If you're not interested, hey, God bless you. I wish you the best, and take care. There are so many more people out there. We can never talk to everybody. It's an unlimited market, literally. You just have to reach out and talk to someone, whether they're 3 feet away from you, or you meet them on Zoom, or if it's a friend's referral, or you meet someone at work. There are people everywhere that would love the ability to either maybe they want to do something new and earn a new source of income that can change their lives, or maybe they just want a little help getting out of debt. And then, or maybe they just want, they didn't understand, why it's important to have life insurance, because as I tell people, there's no such thing as life insurance, because we can't insure your life. When you die, you die. We're not like a car like insurance company who can replace your car. Your house burns down, we can't replace your house. So the purpose of it is to insure your income. I do income insurance. I don't do life insurance. Life insurance is just a name that sounds nice for people. I do income insurance to protect your family based on whatever you feel is important to you. Do you just want enough to pay the final expenses? Do you want enough to leave a legacy? Do you want to leave enough life insurance so that, God forbid, you die, something happens to you early, the Lord takes you early, that your family can at least maintain their lifestyle? If they know their options, then they know what to do. But if they aren't aware that those are the options, well, they're not going to do it.
And is that would you say that that's why a lot of people maybe resist going into business for themselves or become entrepreneurs? Because you do have to go through some rejection. You do have to, some people are going to not like you. Some people might say bad things about you. I mean, I don't know. For me personally, I mean, I had lots of people talking behind my back. I had lots of people laughing at me. I had lots of people tell me that I couldn't do it, or I wasn't good enough, or I wasn't old enough, or I wasn't smart enough, or I wasn't tall enough, or I wasn't whatever enough, right? And is that kind of what, I just think so many people resist because they're so afraid of what people are going to think, or people are going to put them down, or people are going to make them feel bad or whatever. I mean, how do you overcome those feelings? I know you've had those feelings before too.
As far as people feeling that way, remember, most of the people we talk to have been conditioned to think that way. We've been trained in school that all you're going to be is, we have an educational system that's designed to produce workers, employees. It's not designed to produce people who are self-motivated and think out of the box and want to have their own business. That's just not the way it is. No, you cannot convince everyone. No, I don't care what anyone says. I know this works. I've seen it work, and everything that we do just makes sense if they were willing to listen. But my goal, once again, isn't to convince people that don't want to do this for whatever reason. Hey, if they have that kind of attitude, I really don't want to work with them anyways. I mean, it kind of sounds kind of mean, but it's true. We're winnowing the field, trying to find the right people who maybe they're frustrated because they've been working all their lives and they're just treading water, they're not moving forward, or they realize that, I am going to be working for the rest of my life. Or maybe I just can't provide for my family the way I would like to. Or maybe they get that feeling like there's got to be more to life than, going to the office, 5, 6, 7 days a week, whatever they work, and doing the same thing over and over again. Open your eyes one day and you realize that you've lost 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years that you're never going to get back. But whatever motivates them, whatever their angst is, that little thing that bothers them, our job is to find those who and identify those particular feelings. And if they're the right person, we fan that into a fire and use that fire to energize them, and so they want to learn. Because remember, I can't make anyone get their license. I cannot make anyone set appointments. I cannot make anyone do anything they don't want to do. But if we can encourage them, if we can help them open their eyes so they can see the big picture of the potential, well, then we don't have to encourage them. We don't have to, they'll do it on their own. In the
Right.
very, very beginning, Christine and I, we would go to our RVP, the person who we were under that was training us, and we would insist on them training us. And we're talking about 10 o'clock, sometimes 1 in the morning. This is before we even had children, because we wanted to learn the business. If I'm going to pay for something, and no matter how small it is, I want to be able to get some sort of return off of it. It's very, very important to me inside. Okay. If I'm going to do something, I want to not only be able to do it well, I want to do it better than most of the people around me. Okay. Not that I'm competitive, but yes, I am competitive. Let's just face it. I think having a competitive spirit is very, very important, because I would meet people and I would just want to get not so much the recognition that never really did anything for me, but I want to know that what I am doing is superior to whatever they're doing.
So you are competitive. So a competitive
Oh,
spirit is
absolutely.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very important. I may not show it. If you notice, I kind of I try to stay low key. I don't preen my feathers. Uh, but I do like winning. I've always liked winning. Um, you know,
Did you play sports? Did you play sports growing up?
I didn't play team sports. I was a person, gymnastics and track. Okay.
Okay. But you played sports. I mean, you were.
Oh,
I mean, obviously on a track, you're racing against somebody else, so you're trying to win.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've always liked winning. That's
Yeah.
just, I think most people do. And primarily, it was being involved in business gave me the opportunity to experience that again. Because the truth of the matter is, after you start a family and you're working, this competitive spirit kind of dies a little bit. Yeah, salesperson of the year, marketing person of the year. That's great. I did lots of that only because I want to do better than whoever I'm going against, just for the sake of doing better. Um, and if you have that little feeling inside of you that, gosh, there's got to be more. I want to do better. I want people to know that I'm doing better. I want to have a better quality of life. Then, this is just an incredible business. Especially getting teamed up with a great, great leader and a great, great team.
What does that mean to you though? Like success, when you describe success, what does that mean? Because I know that obviously you've always been great with your money, so you've taken care of your money real well, and of course you are a trader. You invest money and you do options and you do understand the stock market very very well. And but what does success mean to you, and what do you want your legacy to be for for the next generation that you're creating?
I want, as far as legacy, I want my children to have what I didn't have growing up. I would love to tell you that I grew up in a Brady Bunch family. That was not me at all. Okay. Single mother, always struggling, but it was that kind of situation, but which I think to a certain extent made me tougher anyways, because I knew what I didn't want. I knew what kind of life I did not want. What I didn't really focus on is what kind of life I actually wanted, because I didn't know that. Getting involved in the military, meeting people afterwards. I mean, that's when my eyes started open to potential. As far as what I do with money, here's my thing. I want to be able to wake up every day and just not have to worry. Okay. My background, that's a ranch that my wife and I bought, and we're spending a lot of time and some resources fixing up and getting it the way, because I want to be able to do what I want to do at some point without having to work, and the idea of residual income is a big deal, because this business gives you residual income. I believe in investing in the market. I believe in futures. I believe in options. All of these work. I actually believe in real estate also. Some people say don't buy the real estate, but I don't have a problem with rentals. I think it's very, very important that we diversify our income, so that whatever is going on, there's always income coming in. There's always income coming in. And we all have enough time to do that. We just need to believe that we can do it. Okay. That there's a method to doing it. Primerica to me is not necessarily a means to an end, but it's a way to achieve enough financial resources. So as you invest them, as I invest them, as we invest them, we can actually create the kind of life and options that we want. You know, even a company as great as Primerica, you got a business, but it doesn't mean it can't be taken away from you if something happens with the government or something like that. So we need to be able to prepare for ourselves. Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now, I do have this prepper mentality. Okay. So, that's the direction I tend to go in. Okay. But
No. I totally get where you're coming from. I mean, I've done the same thing. I mean, Primerica for me was an option to create a lot of massive passive income, and that's what it's done for me through making money through life insurance, making money through recruiting and training and developing, making money through trails on investments, overrides, expanding offices, bonuses, so many. I mean, I think there's like 27 ways we get paid or something like that. But I always looked at it as, okay, I'm going to make a lot of money. I mean, I started at 21, got financially independent by 28 because I just saved and invested all of the money that I was making. So they were paying me a ton of money, but I was at the same time, instead of going and buying a bunch of Ferraris, I was investing and saving and just throwing it right back into my investments. So that way I could get financially free, so that I had enough wealth, enough abundance, and enough passive income and cash flow coming in that I could literally just say, okay, I want to do a podcast, just for fun. I want to, I want to go travel for an entire month around the world, just for fun. I want to, take, 10 trips a year just for fun. I mean, I want to be able to do what I want to do whenever I want to do it. And I think this is, obviously the goal of everybody that goes into business is they want to be free. You don't go into business so you have to work it for the rest of your life till you're 80, 90 years old. You want to build a business so that the business can provide that lifestyle. Now, what I love about, another little beauty of our business is that we get to do this until we're 80, 90, 100 if we want to. Nobody kicks us out, and we can continue to do it. Now, I don't mean that I got to be hustling and writing sales and close, but how cool is it? If you build an organization, you build a team, you get to teach and train these people and give them your knowledge for as long as they're willing to listen. You're able to provide that knowledge and be of value and be of service to the world, to mankind. And I think that's hugely overlooked by most companies. Like, think about it. The reason why most people die after they retire is because they retire and they do nothing but sit in front of the couch on the TV and don't provide any value or serve anybody in any way. So even if you're on the ranch and you're with your kids and your family and enjoying riding horses and out at the beach and doing whatever you want to do, you still on Wednesday morning can get on a training and you could teach your team and you could train and you could influence and you could make a difference, or you could show up to a training live, or you could go to an event, or you could speak on a stage, or you could make an ad, or you can whatever. You could always provide value. And I think that's hugely overlooked because that's, a part of the juice of life, right? I mean, that's a part of what we do is as human beings is provide value for other human beings. What do you think about all that? I know that was a lot, but what do you think about that?
I absolutely agree with you 100%. I think the Lord designed us to work, to have goals, to have something. You can't just retire one day because they said you can retire. And, that's what kills people. People die young because they have nothing to do, nothing to aspire to, nothing to keep them busy. Having the resources to travel, to spend time with your family, to just live and be busy is a big deal. It costs money to stay busy, by the way. It costs nothing to sit home in front of the television and watch TV. And if you don't have any type of decent retirement or income or savings or whatever it is, that's probably your only option. That's all you can do because, well, I can't go out with my friends. A, they're all dying off. B, that means I have to spend money for lunch. And if you don't have that extra money because you're just surviving, barely getting by on Social Security, if it's not really living anymore. And people die because of that. We need purpose in our lives.
Yeah. Progress equals happiness. People say they want to be happy all the time. They're like, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to live a great life. I want to do great things. But the only way you really create true happiness and joy in your life is by growing every day. That's why I love teaching. That's why I love learning. That's why I love, going to events and watching events and being a part of a community of people. I just got back from Sardinia a couple of months ago, and it's one of the blue zones. And everybody says, I want to live a long time. Okay, well, then you got to study what other people do that live a long time. And one of the things that people do is they're a part of a community. And I love that I'm a part of a Primerica community of people that, I mean, I have more friends than I even know what to do with. I mean, literally, I have more friends in my life and people that I could sleep on their couch. I tell people all the time, I can go anywhere in the United States, Canada, and have somewhere to sleep just simply by, my association with them in Primerica. Primerica is an amazing community. I think people now, I don't actively recruit older people, but if I was 50 years old and I didn't, like my financial situation, or I didn't like my life, or I felt like I was depressed, or I felt like I needed to do something, I would join Primerica, honestly, because that's going to make me live longer. Even if it's just for the community. Yeah, you can make some great money and you could become financially independent. You could help a lot of people, but man, it's a great community. I mean, that's why a lot of people volunteer at church, because they have nothing else to do, is they want to volunteer and make a difference. And so I think that's wonderful too. That's a great idea for somebody to do as well. But man, we're a part of something really, really special and really, really great. Been around since 1977, and we're making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. And so, Alfred, I know a lot of people right now, man, they're going, how to this Alfred, man? I want to be on his team. I want to work with him. Seems like a smart guy. He's got a lot of investments under management, millions and millions and millions under management, and helps thousands of clients, and runs a very, very profitable business, very, very professional business. And so how do these people get a hold of you, Alfred, if they want to reach out?
They can look me up on Instagram at, it's _Dela O, or they can, my number, they can reach out on my phone. I really don't mind. 310-259-3348. Even if it's just a question about finances, or just, if you're just curious, I'm more than happy to talk. I'm not to the point in my life where I feel I'm a snob and I don't talk to people. Talking to people is the lifeblood of our business. Just like you've done, and you set a great example, you give value in everything that you do, Daniel. Even when you take your trips and you share your trips with us, you're creating value with us, because, everyone can look at you, look at that and say, wow, I can do that too. Because you started off from the very bottom and you worked your way up. Okay, just like everyone does in Primerica. And I don't think anyone's more special than anyone else. I mean, it's our goal to create the life we want. Primerica is an awesome, incredible tool to give us the ability to do so. If anyone's got questions, more than happy to answer questions. I mean, I got because that's what we do.
Well, Alfred, this has been awesome. This has been incredible to hang out with you this morning, and I really appreciate your time. I appreciate the value that you've brought our Wealth on the Beach podcast community, and I can't thank you enough, man. And I hope that my audience reaches out to you, even if it's just to send a DM on Instagram, or maybe send your text message, man. You gave your phone number, your cell phone number, right? Send them a text message and just say, hey, Alfred, thank you so much for what you do, the value that you provided today. And reach out, man. Try to reach out with him and try to build a relationship with him in some way, somehow. Get some advice and change your own life, right? I mean, somebody's watching right now. I mean, you can change your life by having a mentor, by having somebody to help you. And there's nobody better than Alfred to give you advice, to guide you in your financial journey and business journey, by the way. I mean, he's actively recruiting, he's actively, teaching, coaching, developing, and training other people to lift them up to build some massive passive income like he did. So if that's you out there, reach out to Alfred Dela O, and again, worst case scenario, tell him thank you for his time on Wealth on the Beach today. With that said, Alfred, thank you so much, man. Have a great day. And as always, for everybody, continue to dream bigger than ever. Get after it. Got to get after it. You got to work hard. You got to do what you got to do. But most importantly, do it now. God bless you. We will see you at the top.
Take care.